Have you ever felt completely safe only to discover that the ground beneath you has been pulled away? I never imagined I would be here, sitting alone, heart pounding, trying to make sense of a life I thought I knew, a life built on love, trust, and truth. But it all unraveled, quietly at first, like a storm forming beyond the horizon, silent and invisible until it hit with full force. I was away, driving long hours across the country, the endless highway stretching before me. My only solace, the sound of her voice on the phone. I called every day just to hear her say my name, to remind me why I worked so hard, why I endured the loneliness, why I believed in us. At first, everything seemed normal. Her voice was warm, familiar, comforting. But I didn't know then that a storm was forming, a storm that would destroy everything I believed about our marriage. She was at home, managing her classes, her students, her routines, and I had no idea that in those quiet hours, someone else had begun to occupy her thoughts. A colleague, younger, seemingly harmless. Harmless as a lie when trust is being stolen. She later admitted she admired his passion for teaching, the way he noticed small things about her. A new hairstyle, a smile when a student succeeded. And she liked it. She welcomed it, and I never saw it coming. At first it was small, almost invisible. Compliments, shared laughs, messages that seemed innocent. But the seeds were planted, and while I was away, those seeds grew secretly into something that would break me completely. I would come home for holidays, brief moments, and everything seemed normal. Smiles, affection, love. And each time I wondered, did she do it while I was gone? Did she think of him when she kissed me? Every photo, every laugh, every "I love you" I replayed endlessly in my head, searching for cracks, searching for proof that my reality was not shattered. Then came the first hint, the moment I realized the life I knew might have been a lie. A bag in the glove compartment, lingerie I had never seen, notes hidden in my suitcase. And in my mind, questions began to spiral. Why didn't she tell me? What else is hidden? I confronted her gently at first, seeking clarity. Her answers were calm, plausible, but something felt off, and I couldn't shake the feeling that my worst fears were real. Imagine the despair, to love someone unconditionally and to feel your love returned, yet intertwined with deception. Each moment together became a battlefield between hope and doubt. I thought about our first date, the way she laughed when I fumbled my words, the way her hand brushed mine, the way I felt like the luckiest man alive. And then I thought of him, his name a shadow on my mind, invading memories that had once been sacred. I pictured him complimenting her, laughing with her, touching her in ways I thought were mine alone. My stomach churned and my chest tightened, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't erase the images. She swore nothing happened when I was home, that she never crossed the line while I was there, but her stories didn't align. The details left gaps I couldn't ignore. I replayed every memory, every embrace, every whispered word, and tried to reconcile them with what I now knew. And the mind doesn't easily forget. Images, moments, imagined sounds, all swirling endlessly in the back of your thoughts. I felt powerless. I questioned my own perception, my judgment, my sanity. I loved her more than anything, yet I felt betrayed in the deepest possible way. Nights were the worst. Lying awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking of him, thinking of her, wondering if she ever thought of me the same way. Mornings brought no relief. Only the constant challenge of facing the person I loved with the knowledge that she had deceived me, yet somehow still smiled and held me as if nothing had happened. I tried to write it down. My journal became a sanctuary of despair and fragmented hope. I wrote letters to her I would never send. Letters describing every thought, every doubt, every fear, every longing. I wrote about the fear of losing her completely. I wrote about the longing for the days when trust was unquestioned. I wrote about the moments when her smile would reach me and I would feel a fleeting warmth, only to be pulled back into suspicion and pain. The small daily rituals haunted me. Making coffee for her, hearing her hum while doing dishes, the casual way she leaned against the doorframe and called my name. Everything reminded me of what I could no longer fully trust. I would pause, watch her, and then immediately chastise myself. Why am I doing this? How can I look at her and feel both love and fear at the same time? I sought help. I called therapists, crisis lines, read articles on navigating betrayal. I prayed, desperately, for guidance, for clarity, for sanity. I reminded myself that forgiveness was a choice, not a feeling, and that love sometimes requires courage far beyond what we imagine. I struggled with the notion of trusting her again. How could I? How could anyone? But love refuses to leave quietly. I began to rebuild slowly. Acts of service became my language of love. Washing dishes, cooking dinner, cleaning the house. Each chore a silent message. I am here, I care, I choose us. And she responded, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes warmly, but always with presence. We talked, sometimes argued, sometimes laughed, sometimes cried, and step by step, the intimacy returned. Not as it was before, not perfectly, but genuinely. Yet the images persisted. Touch, kisses, closeness, every shared bed became a reminder of what had happened. I struggled. Tears came mid-embrace. Apologies spilled. Vulnerability, raw and exposed, became our new normal. And slowly we learned, we adapted, we held each other through it. We learned to speak in languages of love that weren't words, that weren't physical alone, but emotional, attentive, mindful. I wrote her letters, almost daily. Letters describing my love, my forgiveness, my desire to rebuild. I even recounted our first kiss, the small, awkward laughter, the joy, the hope. She read them. She reacted. She responded. And slowly, the weight of the betrayal began to lighten. Not vanish, but become a memory that could exist alongside our renewed connection. We discovered each other's love languages. I realized that my expressions of love weren't always understood by her, and hers weren't always what I needed. She valued acts of service. I craved touch. Learning this changed everything. Slowly, deliberately, we began rebuilding. An intimacy, once shrouded by pain and suspicion, returned. Tentative, cautious, but real. And each step forward was a small victory, a reclaiming of what had been lost. We go to therapy together now. We discuss the affair, not with anger alone, but with intent to understand, to repair, to rebuild. I see her efforts. She sees mine. And I have faith that the love beneath the lies can grow stronger if tended carefully. The trust will take years to rebuild fully, but it is possible. The bond, tested by fire, can be forged anew. Even now I feel hurt. I feel vulnerable. But I feel hope. Hope that love can endure. Hope that trust can be rebuilt. Hope that intimacy can once again be a source of joy. Each smile, each touch, each kind word, each act of service is a daily choice, a commitment to each other, a decision to believe in the possibility of us. I share this story not for pity, not for judgment, but because it is real. Because sometimes the hardest trials teach us the deepest truths. Because through the devastation of betrayal, I discovered not only the fragility of trust, but the resilience of love. And that is why I tell it, here and now, so that someone listening, somewhere, might understand that even from the darkest moments, even from the most unimaginable hurt, it is possible to rise again, to choose love, to rebuild, to breathe, and to live fully.